Well, here we go. We've done all the laws of exponents, reviewed them, did a ton of practice. Now we're going to talk about what happens when we have an equation or a function. So before we were talking about quadratics, and they had a base quadratic of y equals x squared. Well, exponents have a base function as well. The simplest function, f of x equals a to the power of x, or y equals a to the power of x. Whichever way you want to look at it. A is a positive constant, and a does not equal 1. Be a really boring graph if a equaled 1. Now, for example, if you have this function of f to the power, or f of x equals 2 to the power of x, our graph, 2 to the power of 1 is 2, 2 to the power 2 is 4, 2 to the power of 1 is 2, 2 to the power of 2 is 4. We have this curve here. Now, 1/2 to the power of x, same idea, except you're going to have 1/2 to the power of 1 is 1/2. 1/2 to the power of 2 is 1 over 4. So that's this curve that we have. Now, that means we have two types of curves. We'll get into that in a little bit. But next thing, all graphs of the form fx equals ax, where a is a positive constant, a does not equal 1. This very simple thing, it's called a horizontal asymptote. That means that you have the equation y equals 0. And what happens is all the curves will approach the x-axis but never ever touch it. They get smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. For example, 1/2 to the power of 100 is a really small number because it's 1 over 2 to the power of 100, but it does not equal 0. The number keeps getting smaller, but never ever gets to 0. And more importantly, they always cross the x-axis at the same point, 1. Because if you think about it, 1/2 to the power of 0 is just 1. Anything to the power of 0 is just 1. So, a couple little base rules before we get into some problems. Here we go. For these functions, for the function f of x equals 3 minus 2 to the power negative x, find these values. So that means f of 0, this is a, equals 3 minus 2 to the power negative 0. Well, that's still just 2 to the power of 0. So that's 3 minus 1 equals 2. So f of 0 equals 2. What about f of 3? Well, we have 3 minus 2 to the power negative 3. Ooh, this could get ugly, because that means I have f 3 minus 1/2 power 3, which equals 3 minus 1 over 8. So that's going to be, this is the same, 3 is the same as 24 over 8 minus 1 over 8. So my answer is 23 over 8. Getting a little ugly, real quick, getting ugly. C, it's kind of nice. F of negative 2 equals 3 minus 2 to the negative 2. Well, that's a good thing because that gives me 3 minus 2 to the power 2. Negative and negative make positive. So I get 3 minus 4 equals negative 1. So f to the negative 2 equals negative 1. Now there's going to be some calculator stuff in the book. I want you to try working through it when you get to those questions. I'm sure Miss Stone will be able to give you some good help. And we're slowly going to move on. And I'll start that one in a minute.